Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. I hope that you all had a great week. I hope that you guys did some things that made you happy this week and have some things to look back on as at least as I like to on Sundays, get ready for the next week. Prepare for work, prepare for school, whatever it might be for you. Recently, I've been reflecting on something in my life, a story, if you will, that has really taught me something that I'm definitely going to carry forward with me. And I wanted to come on here today and share it with all of you in hopes that someone else can take it for the worth that I saw in it. So, about a year ago, in March of 2025, I was driving back from my hometown to my college. And on the car ride back, it's about a 2 hour car ride, I hopped in a Discord call with two of my friends, one of which was my freshman year college roommate. And since I had met him about 3 years ago, something that he had always tried to do, he had always brought up that he'd always tried to influence me towards, was the sport of soccer. I mean, from literally the first time that I met him, we went on almost like a blind date. We went to a local sports bar. We kind of sat down and ate, and I think for about an hour of the 2.5 hours that we're there, he was teaching me about soccer already. Right, so that's how intense this was. And I hopped in the call, right? And they were playing FIFA or FC 25, whatever you want to call it. It used to be FIFA, it's now FC, legal rights and all that jazz. But regardless, the game's still the same, right? It's the game of soccer, the video game of soccer. They were playing it, him and my other buddy. And, we were talking, we were chatting, and I, uh, I was met with the question that I had heard several times throughout the past few years. I guess much less of a question, more of a request. Hey, you you should buy FC. It's half off right now. And I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, here we go again. Because up to that point, yeah, I'd given a little bit of thought to soccer. I definitely knew more about it than I did before I met, my roommate. But I didn't know anything about it really, right? I knew a few teams, I knew a few players just from shouting stuff out while playing FIFA back in our freshman year dorm and whatnot, but I didn't really know any of it. And to be honest, I never had a valid reason for why. But in this moment, like I had so many other times, I shot him down. I said, I was planning on buying the new MLB The Show game in a couple weeks. I was I just don't have time for it. I'm playing Call of Duty right now. Soccer's not my thing. Every excuse that I had kind of built up and learned over the last few years, right, to counteract this question that always seemed to repeat itself, right? But this time he didn't quit, and my other friend that was in the call also joined in. No, you don't understand. Like, if you get it and just try it, trust me, you'll love it. It's the best sports game out there. Like, you just have to give it a chance. Come on, please, right? And I'm thinking to myself, oh God, I really don't want to, right? I don't like soccer. I'm not a soccer guy, right? I was an American I still am. I'm an American football guy. I like the NFL. I like real football, real man's football, right? That's the stuff I like. I don't like any of the soccer crap. I know the very typical, prototypical, football guy hears about soccer response, right? But then I caved in. I don't know what about it made me do it. I don't know if it was the idea that it was only $30 and if I didn't like it, I'd be able to he would never ask me again. I don't know what it was, right? But I ended up caving in. I decided to buy the game. I got back to my dorm and I downloaded it and I played that night. And I liked it enough that I played it the next night. And I liked it enough that night that I played it again. And when I mean I played it again, I played it every single day for the next 3 months. I mean, every single day. To the point where I was starting to forget that I didn't know anything about soccer. Right? I was getting taught all of the teams, right? I was getting taught the way the game works. I was getting taught the players and how the calendar works, right? the tournaments and the Champions League, the Premier League, all the different leagues, right? You know anything about soccer, you know what I'm talking about. But I started to learn, and the more I learned, the more my affection for the game, not even just for FIFA or FC, but the whole sport started to grow. And not only that, but me and my former roommate we were getting closer because we were bonding over something, right? He was the funny enough, he was the teacher and I was the student, right? I was finally getting to learn his favorite hobby, right, that he'd been trying to teach me for years, and I fell in love. That summer, I decided to pick a team to root for. It's Chelsea in London, for those of you who are curious. Come on, you Blues, you know. But uh, I started to learn all the players, and I started to learn their history, and I had a whole new group of people to identify with and to rally alongside, and and to share something with. And then you get into the Premier League season, the 26-27 Premier League season, and I'm watching so much, in fact, that I'm getting up at 6 in the morning on Saturdays. And keep in mind, I'm in college, right? Like, Saturday mornings are not a fun time, but I'm getting up at 6 in the morning to go to his house, his college house, and watch Premier League Saturday mornings, right? I was in, and I loved every single second of it. And I still do. I have a Chelsea jersey hanging on my wall. I have a scarf over on my shelf. Like, I love soccer. A year and a half later, and I love the sport. And I can't believe I'm saying this even to myself. It's potentially my favorite sport. As someone who played football their whole life, who adores the NFL, right? Adores the NFL. I might be a bigger soccer fan than I am a football fan at this very moment, right? And thinking about that, it makes me sad. Not for how much love and how much enjoyment that I've gotten in the time that I've been watching, but reflecting on the amount of time that I could have had this happiness, this joy, this excitement, these memories, right? If I had just said yes sooner. Looking back on it, I can't believe that it took me 3 years to try something new. This very thing. This very thing that my friend was obviously very passionate about and wanted to share with me and wanted to show me. 3 years it took me to say yes. And looking back on it, I never had a valid reason as to why. But I think as people, sometimes we get caught up in this idea, like our identity. This is what I like. This is who I am. This is what I don't like. This is what I enjoy to do. This is what I don't enjoy to do. This is who I am, and this is not who I am. And I think for a while that I let that identity kind of get in the way of me trying something new for myself. That if I had just kind of ditched that identity that, oh, I'm a football guy, I'm an American football guy, I don't like soccer. Right? But why? Did I ever give soccer a chance? Did I ever, listen to what he had to say about soccer for longer than an hour? Did I ever, give the $30 game a chance? No. How did I know? And it was this exact part of my life, this part of my life that's grown to be really large for me, that's kind of taught me that trying new things, especially if we want to grow as people and we want to, you know, learn more about ourselves, learn more about the people around us. For example, at work, somebody I've been working at the same place for a couple years now, somebody I never really talked to before, right? I knew he was a huge soccer fan, and when I went back to work after I graduated college, I had the chance to talk about soccer with him. And now we talk about soccer almost every single day. Someone I had never shared a conversation with is now someone who is a consistent part of my day because we share something, we bond over something, something that all it took was a $30 purchase for me to learn about. And now I have a whole new relationship with somebody. I have a whole new thing to look forward to in my life. I have a whole new thing to root for. Hell, I want to go to London and I want to see a game. All of these wonderful things have entered my life just because of a one time purchase. that I frankly should have made 3 years sooner. 3 years. I could have had over 1,000 more days of this happiness if I had just been willing to try something new. And going forward in my life, I don't want to make that same mistake again. When people come to me with hobbies or interests that they think that I would enjoy, that maybe at first I'm reluctant to give a chance, I'm not going to be reluctant anymore. I want to at least give it a shot because what's the worst that could happen? I know that I don't want it to be part of my life, but what's the best that it could happen? Might end up being one of my absolute favorite things. And that's what I'm carrying forward with me as I enter this new week, as I, grow up and as I want to grow as a human. Try new things, even when it doesn't sound like the most fun thing at the time. I hope all can take something away from this. I just wanted to get back on this channel and kind of share something. And as I've thought about it, my schedule's kind of opened up with not having to study anymore, I think I want to start making this a weekly thing. I think I want to come on here every Sunday morning and just make a post and just talk about something that I've been reflecting on and thinking on and sharing it with the world, I suppose, And by the world, I mean the few of you that stumble upon this video. But I hope that you all have a fantastic week, and hopefully I'll be talking to you guys again on next Sunday.